I'm Jim. I've been a personal trainer for about 3 years now. I used to coach rowing and stuff before that. That's what I've always done. I started rowing when I was about 7 and just did very well in the sport, competed at a very high level, and then actually injured myself, got through the recovery, all the rest, and it led us into the coaching side of things and eventually into personal trainer. Well, I've got, except for normal school qualifications, the sport ones, I've got my level 3 advanced personal training, level 2 gym instructor, I've got level 2 exercise to music, which will amuse some people, gym-based boxing, indoor cycling, circuit training, I've got level 2 in coaching for slide seat rowing, which is one of the main things I do, and I'm just about to finish my level 3 in Pilates. Well, the main things I find is people don't plan the training, the diet, they just don't plan what they're going to do. Quite often I find people come to us quite late on and go, I've got X amount of weeks to my wedding, I've not done this, I've not done that, and they tend to find that as a bit of a struggle. So the main thing I'd say is plan. As much as you're going to plan your wedding, plan how you want to look for it as well. Well, your nutrition I find hugely important. It's probably as important, if not more important, than the training itself. I tend to find that there's not one diet fits all. One of the best rules that I tend to find is actually it's like an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time your diet's it's immaculate, it's all fresh veg, it's meat, but good quality meat as opposed to processed. Avoiding all like flour and processed sugars, all that sort of thing. And then 20% of the time enjoy yourself, because there's no point in having this immaculate lifestyle and then not enjoying it. As you said, the principle's the same. You'll lose weight in the same sort of way, but it's where you lose it from that's very different. It's to do with like your hormone levels, things like that make huge differences to where you're going to lose the weight from. Because well, men and women, the most obvious difference is usually breasts, and that's one of the places that estrogen actually makes women store the body weight, whereas men tend not to, depending on the diet and things as well. So women tend not to notice it quite as much as men, just because when a bloke loses weight, they'll lose it straight off the chest, off the top half, and they'll fill out very easily. And whereas women, it'll be more, they'll start losing off the thighs and places like that first, which I don't think I've met a woman that doesn't want to lose weight off her thighs, but they don't look there very often. They tend to look from the waist up and don't notice it quite as quick. Falling resistance, I think, is by far the best way to lose weight. I have such better results than if I got someone to stand on a treadmill or something. It's so good for keeping motivation, because it tends to be a lot sharper, and you can get the intensity a lot higher. As far as gaining muscle, like I said, the hormone levels, testosterone promotes growth and repair, whereas estrogen tends to break down. With women having a much higher level of estrogen, for a woman to get big and muscly is actually a huge effort. So it's never a concern. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a woman go, I'm getting far too muscular, and most if not all of my sessions are either resistance based with added resistance like weights, kettlebells, things like that, or even just body weight resistance. Because for a woman to do, say, a pull-up or something, they're not adding any weight to themselves, but it's still a very strenuous exercise. It's going to fire lots of muscles, things like that. But definitely resistance is the way to go, in my opinion. They're usually horrific. The short term, they'll have a very quick, rapid, tada, I look amazing, but about like 3 days later, they'll either feel very ill and have to go back, or well, they'll generally just get ill, and it always ends up that they go back to square one, feeling a bit worse, and they've stressed the body a lot more. So the body tends to be a little more ragged than it was before they started it. And all these liquid diets and things, they tend to usually miss out one important factor, fibre, which tends to store everything, which means your core itself is going to be bloated. And if your core's bloated, that generally means your stomach looks bloated, and it isn't really the look most people are going for. Before, having that 80-20 rule so that you can plan to be good for most of the time, and then if something tickles your fancy, you can enjoy it, or if you've already had your 20%, you have that self-restraint. But to say like a perfect week, I find very difficult with my clients. Myself, I actually do like a diary, so they write down everything they eat, which tends to make it a lot easier to see that whether they're having a really good day or having a really bad day. If they've had loads of rubbish and stuff, then they can kind of look at it and go, actually I probably better not have that pastry, donut, chips, whatever. And if they've had a really good day, they can actually see, actually my diet's been immaculate, I can tweak it, I can have this. But I'd say preparation's one of the best things. If you can plan your meals for the week, fantastic. It is a lot of effort though. So the other way is doing it backwards. Look at your diary for a week, because most people tend to eat the same things every week. So if you can look at what you've eaten, and then the next week kind of go, I want to cut down on this, I want to swap this with this, kind of just the order you eat things sometimes makes a big difference as well. The tones, obviously it is a little bit of muscle growth. It's maintaining quite a low fat percentage, so you can actually see the muscles showing through a little bit, and that'll just add to the shape that most people are after. With gents, it tends to be that nice triangle coming in at the hips with slightly broader upper body, and then going out again a little bit at the legs, but depending on the person. And then with women, it tends to be a very similar sort of shape, not quite as broad at the top, but still coming in at the hips with a slight curvature at the bum and things. My main tips for it would be the preparation. Plan what you're doing, plan your training, plan when, how you're going to do it, and usually what you're going to do, unless you're in like a class situation, because that tends to take some of the planning out of it, which can be a bit easier. So I'd say planning is one of the biggest things, including your food and things. Except for the planning and preparation, just stick to it. So many people go, can't do it, I've got this that I can do. Your excuses are just that, they're excuses, the reasons why you go backwards. If you're planning all this good stuff, plan to have some rubbish as well, plan to have some you time to just chill out and enjoy life a little bit. And as far as the training go, lift weights. It's usually about discipline. It's putting the alcohol down, putting down all the dairy products, all the sugars, all the flour-based products, going for all the natural things. If you've got that sort of very natural diet, your body tends not to store as much. But on the other side, to be a little holistic with it, it's making a bit of time for yourself to be relaxed as well, because exercising itself is a stress for the body. So if you're stressing it with all these bad foods as well, then it's too much stress. The body just won't want to let go of anything, so it'll hold on when you're fat to go. Whereas if you take a bit of time for yourself, you have a bit, even sometimes you can overtrain, that'll stop you losing weight. But just having a bit of time for yourself, but making sure everything's planned, ready. Well, what they can expect is usually a free session to come and find out for themselves. Some people like my style of training, some people don't. Some people find it a bit hard, some people find it a bit easy. So I'd always say come through and have a chat with us about what you actually want out of it, and I can usually either help you get there or suggest a really good way if I'm not the best way for you. And as far as contacting me, I've got a website which is jimspersonaltraining.co.uk. So it's my name and personal training. On there it's got another contact thing, so you can see some things about me, some like all the qualifications I went through before, some of the times I trained. I've got quite a few testimonials of people that I've trained previously, and you can contact me on there, or you can just give me a text or a ring. Do you want my contact number on? Yeah, it's 0781 441 7661, so you can just get me on there as well.